The male protagonist, Seong-jin, is a brilliant orchestra conductor. Under the spotlight, holding his baton, he is full of vigor and serves as the soul of the entire orchestra. However, when the lights fade, behind his halo lies the shadow of a puppet. His fiancée, Soo-yeon, is a cellist in the orchestra, but more importantly, she is the only daughter of the orchestra's director. Seong-jin's present status and achievements rely entirely on the promotion of Soo-yeon's mother. He is like a carefully selected live-in son-in-law, an accessory existing only to match her daughter. This disparity in background and status became the original sin in their love. Spoiled from a young age, Soo-yeon is arrogant and never considers Seong-jin's feelings in her actions. In the orchestra, all decisions are made by her and her mother. Seong-jin's role as a conductor often feels more like an empty title, his dignity repeatedly trampled upon. Over time, Seong-jin's inner passion gradually wore away, replacing his former love with a growing sense of coldness and alienation. However, the privileged Soo-yeon cannot accept this coldness. She decided to orchestrate an absurd love test. She recorded a tearful breakup video, falsely claiming that she could no longer endure their emotional distance, and painfully chose to leave for abroad for a while. She naively believed that if she simply disappeared, Seong-jin would experience the pain of losing her, change his mind, and cherish her more. To make this disappearing game flawless, Soo-yeon sought out her most trusted best friend, Emi-ju. Emi-ju is Soo-yeon's junior from the music academy and an equally skilled cellist. In Soo-yeon's plan, Emi-ju would take her place as the principal cellist. This way, it would neither disrupt the orchestra's normal operations nor raise suspicion for Emi-ju to stay by Seong-jin's side, allowing her to report his suffering in real time. Soo-yeon brought Emi-ju back to a villa she lived in during her student days. This villa holds extraordinary significance for her because it hides a massive secret. She pushed open a bookcase to reveal an inconspicuous door, leading to an absolutely soundproof, isolated hidden room. This secret room is the vessel of their youthful memories, a private space known only to the two of them. Embedded in the wall of the secret room is a giant two-way mirror. From the inside, one can clearly see everything in the outside bedroom and bathroom, while from the outside, it looks just like an ordinary mirror. Soo-yeon excitedly showed Emi-ju this perfect hiding spot, her words full of pride in her plan. Having recorded the tearful breakup video telling Seong-jin she was going far away, Emi-ju thoughtfully prepared the snacks and water she would need while hiding. With everything ready, she took the key handed by Emi-ju and walked into the darkness with a mischievous smile, slowly closing the door as the lock made a crisp clicking sound. At first, everything went as Soo-yeon expected. Upon seeing the video, Seong-jin had a complex expression but genuinely showed signs of depression and disappointment. Hiding behind the mirror, Soo-yeon felt smug and even happily acted out a one-woman show, playfully questioning who brought home the bacon among them as a married couple. Seeing Seong-jin looking depressed, she felt that her boyfriend really did care about her, and the goal of this test seemed close to being achieved. Having had enough fun and feeling a bit sympathetic, she decided to end the game and go out to give Seong-jin a surprise. However, when she inserted the brass key into the keyhole, a terrifying scene unfolded. No matter how she turned it, the lock cylinder would not budge. Panicking, she ran to the mirror, pounded on it vigorously, and screamed at Seong-jin, who was washing up outside, shouting nonsensically in sheer panic. But the secret room's soundproofing was astonishingly effective, and the person outside couldn't hear a sound. After washing up, Seong-jin fell straight asleep, leaving Soo-yeon alone in the endless darkness to experience true fear for the first time. The game she had personally designed had completely spiraled out of control. With Soo-yeon trapped, the stage was entirely handed over to Emi-ju. She was no longer the submissive junior but a calculating hunter. Knowing Seong-jin's preferences and weaknesses well, she catered to his taste during the audition, successfully making Seong-jin, who previously ignored her, look at her in a new light. She began to quietly infiltrate Seong-jin's life. A meticulously planned chance encounter kicked things off. One day after rehearsal, Emi-ju's car happened to break down, and it just so happened to be seen by Seong-jin passing by. The gentlemanly Seong-jin naturally offered to drive her home on his way. On the road, the two talked about everything from music to life. Their shared aesthetics and similar circumstances quickly brought them closer. Seong-jin invited her to dinner. After a few drinks, the atmosphere turned ambiguous. At this time, it started raining heavily, trapping the two in the car and on the edge of desire. Emi-ju looked at Seong-jin with tipsy eyes, questioning what was happening. Seong-jin could not refuse this invitation. He brought Emi-ju back to his and Soo-yeon's home, the cage where he felt so oppressed. As the red wine was opened, the floodgates of their emotions also opened. On this rainy night, the long-repressed Seong-jin completely surrendered to Emi-ju's gentle offensive. He held her hand, and she did not resist. Everything that happened after drinking was presented flawlessly before Soo-yeon's eyes through that cold, two-way mirror. She watched with her own eyes as Emi-ju walked into her most familiar bedroom, watched her lie on the bed she shared with her fiancé, and watched them make love. She roared, cursed heart-wrenchingly, and pounded the mirror with all her might. But it was all in vain. The two people outside the mirror were immersed in a sea of desire and could not hear her desperate cries. To her, this was not just betrayal, but the cruelest public execution in the world. It turned out that Emi-ju's hatred had long penetrated her bones. Flashback memories revealed an even more twisted past between these two best friends. They were not only friends, but were once lovers. During their student days, in the secret room of this old house, they played master and slave games. The dominant Soo-yeon enjoyed absolute control over Emi-ju's body and will, while Emi-ju, deeply in love with Soo-yeon, willingly endured it all. Soo-yeon bought this house and once promised that it would be their forever home. However, just as Emi-ju was full of anticipation, finishing the renovations for their future home, she received a call from Soo-yeon from abroad. On the other end of the phone, Soo-yeon casually told her that she had fallen in love with a man, was preparing to get married, and wanted to live a normal life. The cold rejection was hard to handle, especially considering what happens when they stepped back to just being friends. Past promises were as light as a feather, and years of affection were scattered to the wind. To Soo-yeon, Emi-ju was merely a tool for her to explore the world, a toy she could casually throw away once she got tired of it. For Emi-ju, this was a devastating betrayal. The seed of hatred was planted then, and when Soo-yeon found her again and asked her to cooperate in this absurd test, it completely took root and sprouted, growing into a towering tree of revenge. Trapped in the secret room, Soo-yeon barely survived on expired, moldy instant noodles from the cabinet. Starvation, despair, and day after day psychological torture brought her to the brink of a breakdown. Meanwhile, outside, Seong-jin and Emi-ju lived like a fairy tale couple, feasting every day. That was until one day, while Emi-ju was taking a shower, Soo-yeon discovered the only switch in the secret room that could connect with the outside world, a valve that could control the bathroom's water temperature. Scalding hot water instantly sprayed onto Emi-ju's body. Although this small counterattack was insignificant, it became her only hope for survival. The chaos Soo-yeon created using the water valve successfully aroused Seong-jin's suspicion. He called a maintenance worker to inspect it, but the worker checked for a long time without finding the problem, only feeling that the wall was bizarrely thick. While the worker was inspecting, Soo-yeon desperately shouted from inside and turned the water valve again. The suddenly spraying water scared the worker away, which made Seong-jin's suspicions grow heavier and heavier. The real breakthrough came from Soo-yeon's mother, who had been missing her. Feeling uneasy about her daughter's prolonged loss of contact, she re-examined the breakup video and astutely discovered that a hand not belonging to Soo-yeon appeared in the mirror's reflection. After carefully observing it, Seong-jin was horrified to find that the bracelet worn on that hand was exactly the same as the one on Emi-ju's wrist. The puzzle pieces of the truth began to piece together rapidly. Seong-jin rushed to Emi-ju's home and easily unlocked her phone using Soo-yeon's birthday, 11/17, as the password. The intimate old photos of the two in the phone confirmed that their relationship was far from just being schoolmates. Under Seong-jin's interrogation, seeing that she could no longer hide it, Emi-ju merely told Seong-jin that she was only assisting Soo-yeon in running away from home, rambling defensively about past guarantees. However, when Seong-jin asked where Soo-yeon was, Emi-ju falsely claimed that she didn't know either. After returning home, Seong-jin stood in front of that giant mirror with mixed feelings. Soo-yeon manipulated the water valve inside again. The intermittent continuous water flow was like an SOS signal from hell. Soo-yeon finally realized that Soo-yeon was trapped behind this mirror, but his reaction was entirely seen by Soo-yeon. He felt like a clown being played with in the palms of two women's hands. Humiliation, anger, hatred towards Soo-yeon, and fear of the future instantly overwhelmed his thought of saving her. He muttered bitterly about her controlling him and potentially ruining him, questioning her continued reign of power. He did not rescue Soo-yeon, but chose to turn away and leave, choosing to conspire with Emi-ju and leaving Soo-yeon to fend for herself in the secret room. To verify his conjecture, Seong-jin sought out Emi-ju again. Seeing the situation, Emi-ju confessed everything. She told Seong-jin that Soo-yeon voluntarily hid in the secret room, emphasizing that she was the one who betrayed and used everyone first. However, given Soo-yeon's vindictive personality, once she was released, both of them would be ruined and might even end up in prison. Finally, she handed the ultimate decision-making power to Seong-jin. She was certain that this man, who could swallow his pride for the sake of his future, would not dare to take this risk. Unsurprisingly, recalling the hardships he had endured along the way, Seongjin chose to turn a blind eye for the sake of his future, realizing what was most important. Days seemingly returned to peace, and Seongjin and Emi-ju continued their lives as if the life in that secret room no longer existed. But Soo-yeon's mother, the true leader, did not stop her investigation. Through special channels, she used Soo-yeon's phone number to send a message simultaneously to Seongjin and Emi-ju. This sudden text message instantly shattered Seongjin's already fragile psychological defenses. At the same time, his mother-in-law issued a final ultimatum to Seongjin, hinting that her daughter's running away from home was inextricably linked to him, and if Soo-yeon did not return, his career as a conductor would come to an end. The dual fears of ruining his career and facing a murder charge caused Seongjin to break down completely. Ignoring Emi-ju's dissuasion, he threatened to call the police and forced Emi-ju to take him to open the secret room. When that heavy iron door was finally opened, a rotten smell wafted out. At the end of the secret room's corridor, they found Soo-yeon on her last breath, looking like a withered skeleton. Just as Emi-ju stepped forward to check on her, Soo-yeon used her last ounce of strength to grab her. At this critical moment, Seongjin made his final choice. Without hesitation, he shoved Emi-ju away, causing her head to hit the wall heavily and faint. He then turned around and extended a hand of salvation to Soo-yeon, who symbolized wealth, status, and power. At the last moment, the poor boy still took the hand of the rich girl. In the face of money and interests, the newly sprouted love appeared so ridiculous and cheap. The end of the story is cold and cruel. After being rescued, Soo-yeon did not call the police. She forgave Seongjin. However, this forgiveness was a higher level of control. Seongjin was completely reduced to her puppet, a good husband and good son-in-law, whose fatal weakness was held tightly in her grasp. They continued to play the role of a loving couple in front of others. Meanwhile, the former Avenger, Emi-ju, met her own cycle of karma. Soo-yeon renovated the secret room, even placing green plants in it, and then imprisoned Emi-ju inside. From then on, the roles of the two women were completely reversed. Every day, Soo-yeon would pack food from the refrigerator and put it into the secret room to ensure Emi-ju would not starve to death. She finally achieved eternal possession of Emi-ju in the most extreme and perverted way. The two former lovers once again became the best of friends, one in the light, one in the dark, one in control, one imprisoned. In this war, interwoven with lies and revenge, there are no winners, only twisted humanity and endless darkness. After watching this movie, my heart could not calm down for a long time. The movie does not portray an absolute good or bad person. Soo-yeon's arrogance, Seongjin's cowardice, and Emi-ju's madness. Every kind of evil has its source, even allowing the audience to feel a trace of understanding in certain moments. It is precisely this complexity that fills the story with tension, turning the viewing process into an inspection of one's own heart. It warns us never to lightly test human nature, because you are very likely to receive an answer you cannot bear.